All right, to this a suggestion via a channel member. Then in the video is Trump's Alligator Alcatraz is one of the most un-American things I've seen. This is coming from CNN, so I definitely expect this to be a moderately interesting conversation. But let's go and see where this takes us, guys.
Despite all the sort of theater of the Alligator Alcatraz of it all, Trump's comments today were really stunning.
Okay.
Honestly, American citizens. He's talking about people who were born here, and threatening to, put them in a deportation facility, deport them, take away their citizenship. What are we talking about here?
I mean, he even talked, I think, when he was with the El Salvadorian president about needing more prisons there for things like this. I mean, it's beyond, if you were to make a list of outrageous things Donald Trump was going to do, I don't think this would even have made it on the list. It is so just crazy. But the thing is that crazy things that Donald Trump says come to fruition. He will just do whatever he thinks. And now that this is in his mind, it's truly frightening that he might actually move forward and try to make a penalty for a crime being deportation for people who were born in this country.
Well, it's not.
Okay, guys, hold on 1 second here. What's interesting about this statement is obviously, listen, there's a big difference between what he generally says and what he does. I understand. Remember the 2 weeks conversation, guys? That happened about 2 weeks ago. Let's say that. Now, the interesting part about this here is, guys, I do not back the concept of getting rid of someone who was born specifically in the United States of America. I do not think that we should be going back in time to fix that specific problem. If they were born here, they definitely belong here, let's say. But if we want to change or even legislate the issue, I'm definitely back the concept of making sure this can't happen anymore, right? Let's do that, absolutely. But getting rid of specifically people that were born here is going to be very tricky. It doesn't make any sense here, guys. But going forward, I do definitely think that these individuals should not be American citizens just because you were pregnant when you crossed the border, guys. It's not a thing.
Not being deported and dropped off. I think what he has raised is the idea that we'll house some prisoners in a prison in another country. Now, I have no idea whether this is legal or constitutional.
It's not legal.
No, it's not.
And I'm sure that'll be debated out, and if it's not, then it won't happen.
It's not.
But what he is saying is if you have extremely violent populations that need to be housed in a prison somewhere, what's the difference between housing them in a prison here or there? Other than the debate, I guess, over the legality of it.
The Constitution?
That's what he has been raising.
Other than a pesky little thing called the law.
Right. And
I mean,
I don't think
Well,
you can.
under what authority would a president of the United States be able to deport American citizens to the jurisdiction of a foreign country, even for committing crimes?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the legality of it is. I don't know if the Department of Justice has issued a memo on it. Just for the purposes of this conversation tonight, what his point was, if you have extremely violent populations that need to be warehoused in a prison, he raised the idea of putting them in a prison.
We deal with extremely violent populations just fine.
I just think that I don't think you can say, I don't think you can avoid what Alligator Alcatraz is. I mean, I don't think you can just turn a blind eye to it. I think it's anti-American. I think the fact that you're going to have individuals and populations in there that are stacked on top of each other, many of whom without due process. And let me just also say this before it runs on clips throughout social media. Is
it's
that
about to.
There's going to be any Democrat in this country, including myself or you, Christine, who says that if you have committed a violent crime or any crime whatsoever, you shouldn't be deported. We're not saying that. You should be.
That's a lie. Do you have the internet?
However, the fact that Donald Trump this morning said you should learn how to swim sideways. I mean, there are certain things about this country and the virtues of it. And the reason that Donald Trump and others are able to build Alligator Alcatraz is because of the simple fact that you don't give people the benefit of their humanity. I also think that, look, if we want to have a conversation about who belongs where, when, how.
Okay, let's have that conversation.
And
let's have this conversation specifically on CNN.
Citizenship status, and we want to look at everything. I mean, I would look at Donald Trump Jr. I mean, I would look at all of Melania's kids, all of Ivania's kids. I mean, let's just have a full conversation over who belongs here, how do they get here, their citizenship status. Let's just have a full discussion about all of it. Why?
Yeah, I'm definitely down for any type of conversation. I mean, listen, if you are involved in some of the things that you're fighting against, that's a slight issue, let's say. But if you're attempting to penalize individuals specifically, this is kind of why I say Donald Trump is just talking, bro. He's not doing any of these things. Not large scale, right? I mean, because imagine if he did, he would have to look inward to his own family. That's a truthful reality. I think we all kind of understand that. And I do not think that he's going to do that. I think he is just talking to get you guys upset.
Why is that not on the table right now? I mean, the only person here should be Tiffany Trump if we're going to have this discussion.
Can I ask you, Pete, to respond to what Bakari said about the humanity of it all? The idea that because you're an undocumented immigrant, we don't know who they're going to put there. We already know that a lot of the people that they're detaining don't have criminal records.
Okay, but were they there next to someone who did? Like specifically, guys, the DOJ, specifically Tom Homan and ICE, already dictated that if you are there and you are illegal, okay, it doesn't matter that you don't have a criminal record, bro. You are, in fact, going to be considered collateral. You're there illegally. ICE is making contact with you. They're going to take you. They can't leave you. Okay, so it seems like this woman here specifically is trying to go around the issues here.
Where is the humanity, and what place does it have in this conversation?
We'll have to see how many people actually end up there. I think part of this facility is to try and incentivize those who are here illegally to self-deport.
Absolutely.
To say, hey, you don't want to be here. You don't want to go to Alligator Alcatraz.
Some logic.
So you should probably just leave the United States of your own accord. The DOJ memo is very interesting, going back to talking about legalities.
About denaturalizing citizens?
We can denaturalize citizens. That is a law on the books. So the DOJ is looking to prioritize the enforcement of America's existing laws. There was an instance just earlier this year where somebody had their citizenship revoked, I can't even say the word. It happened because they were convicted of distributing child abuse materials.
Whoa. Don't say that.
It's something
Thank
that
you.
can happen.
For not saying
it's something
that.
that can happen, but it's something that is relatively rare and is usually reserved for things like what you're describing there. But one of the things that's interesting about that memo is that it says, in addition to heinous crimes, right? I'm not sure there's a lot of dispute about the code and what it says about crimes being a case for denaturalization. But it also says cases referred by a U.S. Attorney's Office in connection with pending criminal charges if those charges do not fit within one of the other priorities. So that's basically any crime. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. That's any crime.
Okay.
Number 10. Any other cases referred to the civil division that the division determines to be sufficiently important to pursue. So I think when people look at this, they look at this as a carte blanche.
Yeah, it's totally subjective.
To just say, Zohran Mamdani, you're a naturalized citizen. You're a high priority for us. We'll take it away.
Right.
What are the guardrails here?
And you just said,
Bro, do there even really seriously need to be many guardrails in this context here? Like, it's not really hard not to commit crimes, bro. Like, it's not that hard. It's just do the right thing, be good to your neighbors, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you want me to feel bad for someone who has, broken into this country at times, right? Not in this context that she's making here, but someone has broken into this country. They said they've had a kid in this country. Now, that kid grew up to basically have not much moral fortitude, let's say, to the point where they start committing all types of heinous activity, and you want me to feel bad for that person. You're talking about the humanity of a criminal? They're a criminal. What are you talking about here, guys? I mean, there needs to be levels here. Like, listen, we all signed up for what's called, let's say, the social contract, or some people call it the social compact, let's say, right? But we've all signed up for this, okay? We need to be able to live with each other without the threat of criminality or any type of, like, literal debauchery. We need this, okay? So why exactly are you asking me to kind of feel bad, let's say, for a criminal? Like, listen, if your parents came here illegally and then you were born here, I have no problems with you, right? I will absolutely always be against the concept of getting rid of specifically the anchor baby in the context here. Listen, they're born here, let them be. Let's now fix the issue so it can't happen again. It's as simple as that here, right? Like, they were not the criminal in the context here. You get what I mean here, guys? So I have the humanity. I have the humanity for people that are law-abiding.
Said it's a little loosey-goosey. This is not a good thing to be loosey-goosey with. Denaturalizing people, sending them to jails in El Salvador. I mean, you cannot, by definition, if there was one thing you wanted to have tightened up, it would be this. And you say the courts, So are people then going to be waiting in El Salvador on their knees bent over while we're waiting for the courts to decide whether that American citizen should have been taken out of this country?
I don't know, but I do know this.
That's not okay.
That you jump to the worst possible.
Yeah, because that's generally what happens when people like this person tend to speak. They go for the literal exception in the actual argument. The rule dictates that that probably is not going to happen, okay? But of course, she's going to the worst, the exception, and that's her argument.
Conclusion with nearly everything that Donald Trump says or does, including enforcing the laws of this
he
country.
said to the El Salvadorian president, we need more prisons there. I'm just basing on what he said.
I mean, despite all...
Ugh, okay. I don't like her. Period. There's nothing that she said that was very interesting. Every single thing is rooted in, I want you to feel this way. How does it feel? No logic at all, just emotion, exceptions. And that's all her conversation basically was. I find it incredibly irrelevant. But all right, guys, listen, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.